I think there must be something going on I've just turned the camera back on. I mean, there was just a flood of traffic. I don't know what's going on. Right, oh God, there's a lorry behind us now. Well, let's trot on, Higgy. Gosh, I can't get my thoughts together. The Doberman coming. I can't hear him. Oh yes, he is coming. Here comes the Doberman. We've had a lot of work here with Higgins. Because when he used to hear that Doberman, he used to try and trolley off. But now he's much better. Yes. Now we'll wait here because we've got a big lorry as well, so it's a bit of a challenge, isn't it? We've got the dog up here, but you see I've got my reins quite loose, but that doesn't mean to say I'm not in control. But I am in control. But the thing is, when you have the reins too tight, oh, he wants to go in there. It makes the horses anxious. So you have to give them, you have to say, look, I trust you to stand, while being ready to capture them if they shoot sideways. Well, I'd never imagined that we were going to have this volume of traffic up here. I don't know why he wants to follow us all the way up. You're going to have to go backwards. I'm sorry. Thank you. Right. Well, we're trotting along. I don't think he's fresh today. Which is good. It allows me more time to talk. I think I'll just keep trotting. So yes, to get back to this dentist who I'm sure has made Higgins hugely more comfortable, and really, ideally we should have got this done a few months ago, but anyway it's done now. So I'm hoping that he'll have a better response through his mouth. And the dentist was saying to me, he said, have you noticed how older horses, say 15 years and upwards, the end of their tongues are, you know, a bit discoloured, a bit sort of dry looking and don't look like the rest of the tongues? And I said yes, but actually I don't know that I have particularly noticed it. But anyway, for those who have, and anybody wondering why that's so, he was telling me that what happens is horses wear their teeth down naturally. There's less room for the tongue, so it starts to come forward in the mouth, right up to sort of the lips, and sometimes with an older horse beyond. And that's the reason it gets to be a strange colour, because it's, or a different colour, because it's not in the position that it would be. He said, but he's noticed that now people are much more conscious of the teeth. They're getting their horses done, say, every 6 months. And sometimes, if too much filing is done, it has the same effect as if the horse were older, and he's seeing more discoloured tongue tips in much younger horses, say 7, 8, 9, or maybe even younger, but he mentioned that. So he said, so he gave it a lot of thought, and he was wondering why that should be, and so that is why that is. So if it applies to you or your horse, now you know. And now I'm going to be busy looking at tongues of older horses, because I thought that I was quite observant, but obviously not as observant as I thought I was, so I'm going to be looking at their tongues. The other thing he said was, when he came to do Higgins, he'd just done these 3 Shetlands, which he'd treated a year before, and apparently that was the first time, and they were all as Shetlands can be. They were darting around everywhere, they didn't want their teeth done, and they weren't particularly well handled. So he said it was quite a thing to get their teeth done, but he managed it. And one of them in particular was very difficult, more difficult than the others, he said. But this time, he said, they definitely remembered him and were no problem to catch, more or less just stood there. And the star of the show was this difficult Shetland, who he couldn't really get near the first a year ago, and he was just saying how they remembered him, and he's saying what fantastic memories horses have, you know, because it was only once, but they remembered they'd had a good experience, they felt more comfortable after he'd treated them, and this time they didn't give him any problems at all. And horses have an amazing memory, the good and the bad. And you wouldn't think they'd remember that for a whole year, that when he came back, they knew exactly who he was and what he was going to do, and they were very happy for him to do it. So I just thought that was a lovely little story, and I thought I'd share that. And it does make us realise, you know, the responsibility with these horses, because their memories are so phenomenal. Right, now we're going to have another little trot to the forest. It's sweated up already. Some of that is fly spray. We make our own, and it's quite effective, because the forest, when it's these sort of temperatures, are just absolutely full of horseflies. It's like horsefly city, and they're horrid, but these doesn't stop them entirely, but it certainly makes a big difference. They don't all settle on the horses en masse like they do without fly spray. And of course it's good for the horses to have those squirty bottles. We put it in those, you know, pump bottles, so that they get used to the sound of hissing. Right, well, we're nearly at the forest now, and Higgins is feeling very relaxed, which is good. Yesterday I came to the forest and he wasn't as relaxed as this, but as I say, he was fresh. I think we'd done quite a bit in the village where he he sometimes got a little worried there, but he's absolutely fine in the village now, and he goes around like an old clod. And so it was difficult to, I mean, yeah, he has a good ride, but it's not such hard work as coming up to the forest, and you can't get a lot of cantering done on the bridle paths around the village. So yes, he was a fresh boy. Now he wants to have his head right down there, and I'm letting him, because Higgins for so long had his head up like a telegraph pole and shot sideways everywhere, that it's really nice. If he wants his head, he can absolutely have his head. In fact, I'm giving him a little tap on the shoulder, and every time I do, it's encouraging his head to come down more. Right down there. That's excellent. Because when they stretch their heads down there, all the muscles, from the trapezius muscle all the way back through their quarters, lifts a little and elongates. So it's very good for their backs to be able to stretch. And I think he'd be quite happy to just walk all the way around the forest. But I did have some plans for canter. I don't know whether he's going to feel up to that today, because it's not looking, no, we're not going off there. It's not looking as if it will happen. So Higgins has the most fantastic canter, in unschooled form that I've probably known on this type of horse for a long while, better than I've ever known for a long while, because mostly these Shire types, well, he's Clydesdale, and they do find it a little easier, but even so, you know, they're given to often giving to doing fast trots and not engaging that hind leg.